Well, right now, Chris, Tony Stewart has got Dale Earnhardt Jr. in a squeeze play. You know what I'm talking about. A lot of pressure right now being put on from behind, and it looks like give old Tooney a lap or two. He may be trying to make a move on the lead here.
He won this race last year. Dale Earnhardt Jr., though, with all that's gone on for him, you know, he's moved up in points the last few races. His fans, the most popular driver in the sport. How important is he makes a move on the outside on Ridge? How important we have problems with Robbie Gordon to the wall.
Yeah, looks like Robbie may have another right front tire going down. Robbie, during that problem for Robbie Gordon, looks like Tony Stewart has gotten underneath Dale Earnhardt Jr., trapped in there behind the 10-car Scott Riggs, and
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah.
falling behind into second place here, but important for him to be contending. This is his best chance to win a race this year, given that the DEI contract negotiations have been put on hold, as his sister has also worked with him in business, finishes up recovering from an operation. He said, we're holding off on that. So there are distractions, whether he wants to admit to that or not.
Yeah, definitely so. Right there, you see the caution is out because of Robbie Gordon's car has definitely got a right front tire down.
Big drill, right side.
See what happened to the 7 car here.
8th caution of this race. We've had 9 different lead changes, 6 different leaders.
Yeah, we're taking a look right here out of the front of David Ruben's car. And coming off of the turn 2, looks like Robbie's right front tire went down. He got a piece of the outside wall, and that's the reason why we have the caution right now. But during this, prior to the caution coming out, the 10 car and 8 car get together, and Tony Stewart takes advantage of both Earnhardt and Riggs beating on each other here and takes the lead.
And Scott Riggs in that 10 car gets the free pass, but Tony Stewart, who again won this race last year, does get in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jimmy Johnson currently 3rd. Kyle Busch, who was last week's winner, 4th. Pretty impressive leaderboard as we have gone 306 laps. Let's check it upstairs with Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
8th caution flag of the day, Chris. Give the pit crews a chance to get to work here. Sorry, we're readjusting here with our hot dogs. These Jesse Jones Franks are so bright red inside that they're a little scary to look at first, but vinegar, slaw, chili, and mustard, delicious.
But they do not get much better, I guarantee you.
I'll eat just about anything, but I'm a little skeptical. I never ate that many of them when I came here through the years. So.
It's like going to the ballpark. You got to eat the hot dogs. It's just a thing about Martinsville.
But I'm glad you mentioned the word skeptical, because, you know, how many times do we have to watch this problem with this fuel pump cable? You know, it was Tony Stewart last week, led over half the race. He has a problem. Kevin Harvick comes here 5th in the points. Looks like he has a car that can win this race. Somewhere the rubber meets the road with this. If I was one of these crew chiefs, I wouldn't care if the new engine had it or not. I'd be getting rid of that thing.
I had a theory. I like to stay about 2, maybe 3 months behind on my R&D work.
Well, we got a little R&D work going on pit road now, and I think it's going to call a pit stop. 4 tires full of fuel here with 193 laps to go, Steve.
Larry, Matt, Kurt Busch says he's a little bit concerned about his brakes. They're also going to undo an adjustment they made on the last stop. They're going to go down on the track bar. They're also making air pressure adjustments on that number 2. Matt.
Leader Tony Stewart says his car from about 30 laps on in the run really takes off. It turns better as well. Greg Zabinelli called for a small air pressure change to help the car take off better. Krista?
48 of Jimmy Johnson going up 1 round on the track bar. Dale Earnhardt Jr. says his car is good. It's going in the right direction. These pit stops were big because the radar is showing a little bit of a mess on its way.
There's been a storm system brewing off to the southwest, and most of it has been broken up as it comes up and over the Blue Ridge. But some of it may reach Martinsville.
Yeah, there's been a little something brewing here for about the last 308 laps.
I know what was brewing there on that 20 car on their pit stop. They lost 4 positions. Not a good stop for them.
Not sure what's brewing, Darrell. It's not the hot dogs. Okay.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm only on my 3rd one. And John Darby and the NASCAR officials took all the rest that were in the box, and they're enjoying them next door.
They were enjoying them.
Yeah, they're gone.
Y'all are just spreading joy everywhere.
Only eat hot dogs at Martinsville and watching Major League Baseball on Fox on Saturdays.
That's what we're going to do next weekend.
That's
at 3:30 Eastern.
At new time this year.
I'm going to play like Jed Clampett when he's in Hollywood.
Martin Truex, your leader. Dale Jr. 2nd. Jimmy Johnson, or currently 2nd, rather. What have we here?
That's that fuel pump cable right there. And we've been talking about the hex. That hex is what you saw right there. There you see Danny Lawrence.
I thought he's going to hang himself with it.
But that hex, it's driven off the back of the oil pump, and it's very critical how that thing is put in that oil pump. It doesn't go up in there very far. I know a lot of teams have started making their own. In fact, Greg Zipadelli told me after the problem they had with the 20 car last week at Bristol that they made their own cable, and they put it on a test machine and ran 3.5 Martinsville races. Wow. RPM up, RPM down, cautions and everything.
In 2 weeks, NASCAR moves to Texas. Our coverage begins Friday, the 13th, with Nextel Cup practice on speed, followed by Nextel Cup qualifying. Then on Saturday, April 14th, 2 rounds of Nextel Cup practice, also on speed. Sunday, April 15th, the next day is tax day, but our coverage on Sunday begins with NASCAR race day on speed. The Nextel Cup race is on Fox at 1:30 Eastern Time, followed by NASCAR Victory Lane on speed. So while you're filling out your tax return, watch our coverage of NASCAR in 2 weeks across the Fox networks.
Now that will be with the CFTWA car.
What?
The car from 2 weeks ago at Atlanta.
Let me write this down. Well, 80% of you think Bristol is your favorite short track. Got to put me in the 2%. I love Martinsville. It's just the history here. It's pretty wonderful as we get a restart, completing lap 312. Dale Jr. in front of Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch.
Probably the one thing that they need here that they have at Bristol is lights. That night race, a night race here would be pretty fantastic.
Mike Bliss in that 49 car, of course, he's 4 laps down. He was up there with the leaders, got shoved way up the racetrack in 3 and 4 that last lap.
Yeah,
and this lap
in the danger zone.
Can't get out of the way.
Or the twilight zone. I don't know which.
It's get all you can get time coming off this restart as teams start to settle down for what they hope will be a long run.
Now, Tony Stewart in the 20 car, he got a really good run off turn 4, but he had to roll completely out of the throttle up on the front straightaway. In the meanwhile, Jeff Gordon in the 24 went by him for the 5th position. Now Tony's fighting back.
The other reason, dark clouds behind us. There's a fear that rain is on the way. The spotters have a look at that. They relay to their drivers. And away we go.
You know how you can tell the race is intensifying and that rain's on the way and that maybe the end's in sight? That blue car with the yellow number on it
suddenly launches toward the front.
He has reared his head.
Jimmy Johnson, the 48, won the race here in the fall, but Jeff, with weather on the way, these guys can't afford mistakes on pit road like Tony Stewart and that 20 car had last time in.
No, we can't, Larry. And what really happened was when I got an opportunity to go back and look at the replay, everything looked really normal on the right side of the car. Guys were really together. Right side comes up, and you see both tire changers. They come off together. Everything's looking like really a solid pit stop. A little minor adjustment there by the catch can guy on the left rear. But once we get around to the left side of the car, the left front comes off really with no problem. Left rear comes off, but they had a little bit of a problem getting all lug nuts tight on the left rear. You clearly see the front tire guy pointing, go, go, go. And even Tony was a little bit slow reacting. Because of that, he loses 4 valuable positions, and it's really got him kind of like mired back here in 6th place right now after that restart.
Jeff, I just wonder if they're having a glue issue. The 11 had a nut fall off. The 20 had a nut fall off. Sometimes that cement that they use, that yellow 3M stuff, doesn't set up right. The lug nuts fall off.
That is teammates, Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're using a product.
It could be issues like that, Darrell. It also could be brake dust. A lot of times we forget about the rear tire changer when he comes around and he hits that wheel. A lot of times brake dust will fly in your face, and that could have also messed him up. Any number of things, but that little miscue, which cost him about maybe a half a second on the stopwatch, cost him really, more importantly, 4 to 5 positions on the racetrack.
You just saw Jeff Burton cut in front of Carl Edwards to take away 11th place. And look at Junior's lead.
Goodness gracious, he's just checking out.
And I think the grandstands pretty much tell the tale on this. They're pretty much all about 65, 70,000 are standing waving those red flags and hats.
That's the biggest lead we've seen today. 2.6 seconds.
He's doing it pretty easily. Right now he's He's a good 2/10 quicker than anybody else on the racetrack. He's running 2050. Everybody else is 70s and 80s.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Johnson in the 48 second, they just ran the fastest lap they've run in this race about 3 or 4 laps ago on lap 318. So they're definitely hooked up now here with about 177 laps to go.
Plus, if it's cooling down a little bit, you know, got rain in the area and it's cooling down, that's going to pick up some grip on the racetrack as well, which will pick up the speeds.
Now Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. Cars are starting to get strung out a little bit, but it's not that far from to catching the tail end of the field, and that'll just bring Jimmy Johnson in at 48 right up there to it.
But right behind Jimmy, I tell you, a guy that we haven't talked a lot about is Clint Boyer in the 07, another Childress car, and right behind him, last week's winner, Kyle Busch. They are creeping into the picture as well.
Yeah, we've got 3 Hendrick cars in the top 5. Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Jeff Gordon now in 5th.
175 laps to go on NASCAR's shortest track. There is the cause for concern. Those dark clouds, and when you can't see the hills to the west, there's rain out there. We're going to crank it up, folks. The umbrella, that is, because it is raining here in Martinsville, Virginia, about an hour south of Roanoke, 45 minutes north of Greensboro, Winston-Salem. You see the Impala pace car just ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. as they bring the cars down pit road and to a halt under what will be a red flag as soon as the last car is stopped.
Hey, Junebug, it's the DW. This just in, my friend. It's raining in Martinsville.
Yeah, man. I was driving pretty hard there at the end. I was hoping my rain would come, and because I was using up quite a bit of my car. I've been trying to save a little bit for the end. That's been our deal here lately, is wearing the car out before the end of the race. I had to use up quite a bit of it right there because I didn't want to get past, but we'll see how long this stuff's going to stick around. I don't know. Maybe the good Lord be on our side here, and we'll get us to win somehow, some way.
Man, you've been looking good today, Junior. Your car is just awesome looking. They got a handle on this car tomorrow, looks like.
Well, I say this best car forward bite-wise I've ever had here. I think that has a lot to do with the width of the car, and it drives really good. I'm really surprised. I mean, you know, they've got a lot of criticism, and I got to give credit where credit's due. And this is a pretty decent car for this racetrack. Between me and my team and the guys that built it, and of course NASCAR designing it, we've been real critical of it up to this point. But it seems to be working really good here.
Well, I know you're leading the race, and this probably have a biased opinion, but would you like to see them go to this car full time, Junior?
One way or another, you know, either run the other ones or run this one all the time so we can get started working on them. I think they were, you know, very conservative in deciding to run just a few races this year, and that was probably a good choice, but you know, we'll just see how it works out. I mean, there's probably a lot more to learn. These 2 races are short tracks, and you can basically build any kind of car with 4 tires and a steering wheel and get it to go around here fast. So we'll see how they go with them other tracks, and then we'll decide how much we really like them.
Yeah, one more thing, and I hope you don't mind me asking, but how's Kelly?
She's at home, staying with my mother for a couple of days. She'll be there until middle of the week. She wanted to get some rest. The little girls would be waking her up left and right, so she'd sit there and get rest, get healed up. She's not supposed to lift anything for several weeks, so we're just trying to keep her out of harm's way, and Jimmy's taking care of the kids while in the time being, doing a great job.
All right, my friend, thank you so much. And this is a lot better than a couple of 3 or 4 years ago when you were here at Martinsville for one of the first times, huh?
Yeah, we wrecked our car, a lot of other people's cars. I ran into a pace car, a record. We damaged about everything but the hot dog stand, because I really like that hot dog stand, of course. That's a rough day. My man Tony Jr. is the guy to credit for how good his car drives. He's really worked hard.
All right, buddy, get out there and get you something to drink and see if we go back to green or not. But you look great today, and keep it up.
Thank you.
We'll continue. We're under, I can't because I care, under a rain delay, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. is leading, and it looks like we're going to go racing soon.